Hi, it's Michael Senoff with Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. I'm pleased to present you a very special interview with the legendary mail order man, Jim Straw. The title of this interview is called How I Made $400 Million Selling Products Through the Mail. Even though he only has a high school degree and a year of college, Jim Straw has made more than $400 million selling products through the mail. And according to him, anyone can get rich. You just have to know the fundamentals of success. And in this question and answer interview, you'll hear Jim's advice for getting to the top of your ladder. According to Jim, every entrepreneur has started in sales and marketing because no matter what business you think you're in, if you're not selling, you're not making money. That's why in order to be successful, it's important to learn the building blocks of business and sales. And in this interview, he'll tell us all about them. You'll also learn how Jim makes his living working just 3 hours a day, why Jim says you should always test, and retest your market, and how to effectively measure those results. You'll learn how to easily and quickly build an email list from scratch, and other ways to use the internet to enhance your business and increase your customer base. You'll learn what Jim's biggest mistake was and what he learned from it, why you'll need to learn the fundamentals of business in order to be successful, and the best books for learning them. You'll learn how to get PR articles written about your business for next to nothing. You'll learn how to stop throwing away viable business opportunities by understanding the business of business and stop yourself from thinking like a consumer. You'll learn the 2 things you need to know to be successful in life and much, much more. According to Jim, most people don't fail. They just fail to stick with any one thing until they've mastered it. And that's why Jim says, in order to have success in business, you have to learn everything you can about business. And if you're not prepared to do that, you may as well just get a job. So sit back and learn how to be a successful entrepreneur in any field from a business legend who knows. Note that this recording is a recreation of Jim Straw's voice. Jim was unable to do a live phone interview because of some hearing problems. This is an actor playing the part of Jim Straw. These are Jim Straw's words from written answers to questions by HardToFindSeminars.com students. Now let's get going. For more information on Jim Straw, free reports and services, go to www.jimstrawgonewild.com. That's www.jimstrawgonewild.com. Jim, with all your successful businesses, what are the 3 top success principles that are responsible for your success?
Well, there is only just one. Just do it. Too many people want success, but they never just do it. Some 30 years ago, I asked a dozen self-made millionaire friends of mine how they had become so successful. Now, every one of them, after telling me about the things they had done, had the same answer. I don't know. I just did it. Now, my answer is the same. I just did it.
What are your tips for maintaining a good work-life balance?
Well, I hope by work you mean business. I mean, never take your business or life too seriously. Roll with the punches. Change the things you can and accept everything else. I have always brought my life into my business. I mean, making my family and friends, directly or indirectly, an integral part of my business. I mean, even when your family and friends aren't interested in what you do, make them a part of it.
What do you see happening in your online and offline promoting activities over the next few years?
One of the big things I've learned in business over the past 50 years is no one can predict the future. And what you need to do, as I do, is constantly test. Test and test. Then you test some more. Every new method, product, service available in your business niche, offline or online. Use those that work for you and just discard the others. That way, as the business changes, you will change with it.
Here's a question from one of my listeners. Jim, what would you do if you had no resources or contacts to generate working capital?
Well, I would do the same things I did back when I started. You'll find some of them detailed in my free report on the web. You have that there?
Yeah, this is at www.businesslyceum.com/free report.html.
That's it, yes. Remember now, one thing, as Will Rogers said, the problem with success is it goes around disguised as work.
All right, Jim, here's another question from one of my students. I'd like to know, again, if it's all right by you, what Mr. Straw's advice would be to parents bringing up their children, wanting to teach their children how to be financially responsible and accountable for their own future, especially in these current times, which I personally think are the greatest ever.
If a parent hates their job, complains about the robber businesses, screams that they are not being compensated fairly for the work they do, they tell their children that money is the root of all evil, or that they are entitled to more just because they exist, those are the feelings their children will accept. Since our education system does not teach your children anything about money, they only learn what you teach them by example. Now, you teach your children to respect work and money. Any job is a good job, and money can only be enjoyed when you earn it. And education is great for learning your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s or whatever. I am not advocating no education, but it doesn't necessarily teach kids that the buck stops with them. The timeless principles of wealth, well, you'd understand. I mean, back when I was a kid, every time I asked my dad for money, his first response was always, what for? And why? Then, how you going to get it? Dad always told me there are 3 ways to get money. Beg for it, steal it, or earn it. But if I begged for it or stole it, I mean, he would beat the living hell out of me. Now, since the only option I had was to earn it, I learned to respect money because it was hard to come by. You know, as I grew older, when I needed money for anything, I began asking myself, how am I going to get it? Then I developed the plan I was going to use to get the money I needed. Take a job or do some kind of business. Now, I've used the same technique on our 5 kids and 8 grandkids, and all of them are productive.
Look, I've been struggling with the advertising for my business, and I've written and submitted numerous articles. Do you have any ideas for me?
Well, if you're talking about posting articles on the internet, the chance of success is slim, because there are millions upon millions of articles published on the internet. The chances of anyone actually reading and responding to them are, well, slim to none. I have over 50 articles published online. The response is so small, it isn't even worth counting. But the same articles published on my own website produce very significant response, measurable in real dollars. Your best bet is to frequent the discussion boards that relate to your subject matter. Rather than posting an article, use pieces of your articles to respond to the postings on the board. My first big success online, sold over 100 copies of my mail order marketing course, was when I went to the various business discussion boards and offered to answer any questions anyone might have about mail order. And I worked my fanny off answering thousands of questions. Should have made the offer only on one board at a time.
Jim, in relationship to mail order, what would you say is the best way to find mail order magazines for which to write?
Go to your public library and ask to see a directory of periodic publications. Now, although you may look under the classification mail order, you really should be concentrating on the business opportunities classification. There aren't many periodic publications dedicated specifically to mail order, but mail order is a significant category in most business opportunities publications.
What's more effective today, sneak-up mail or postcards? If it's postcards, is there a particular size that has proven to you to be more successful for a better response?
I really don't know what sneak-up mail is. The most successful postcards I've ever used have been standard size without any color or graphics. I want the recipient to read the card, not just look at the pictures.
Jim, let me ask you this. With classified ads, is it better to have the ad request people express their interest in the mail by either sending in a self-stamped address envelope or responding by mail, or leaving a phone number at the end of the classified ad and having someone leave their name and address and phone number information? What do you think is the best way to go?
It isn't a question of either or. Use both in an ad, and test each separately. Use what works best for you. Measure the results in dollars actually produced, not by the number of responses.
Jim, what was the inspiration for you to start writing all these books and manuals and interacting in so many other activities?
Nearly 40 years ago, I owned and operated a chain of retail women's wig shops across the southeast U.S. and a wholesale wig warehouse selling to other wig shops and beauty salons. So since I the editors called and asked me to write an article for him about point of purchase, marketing in wig shops. Well, I wrote it, and he published it. Right after the article was published, the king of wigs in New Orleans, he called me the emperor. Well, anyway, he called me to ask who had written the article for me. Well, when I told him that I had written it, he asked if I could write some articles like it for him and let him put his name on them. He offered to pay me $1,500 for each article. Well, I took him up on the offer and wrote 11 articles for him. Until then, I didn't know that people would actually pay me to write. So I wrote a bunch of how-to articles about things I had done successfully in business and submitted them for publication to various business opportunity publications. All were rejected. There are, still are, too many writers competing for the magazine space. Then a friend suggested that I put all of those articles in a book and sell it. That worked all right, made me a few bucks. But another friend suggested I start a newsletter and send out just one how-to article each month. Now that's when I started the Business Intelligence Network, offering just one how-to article about doing just one particular business each month. And I charged $10 per year. It was only one sheet of paper, front and back each month. My cost per month per subscriber was about 10 cents, including postage. Later, I sold each of those articles separately for $1 each. Sold hundreds of thousands of them each year.
What do you think has influenced you to write about a specific topic?
I never thought about it. I've always been a voracious note-taker. I've always made notes to myself on any business deal or activity in which I was involved. What worked, what didn't work, why, how, etc., etc. When someone asked me how I did it, I would write a report, a booklet, a book article, whatever, telling exactly how I did it. Then I would offer it up for sale. Well, enough people wanted to know how to do it, I made money. If not, I filed a report for future reference or inclusion in a future report on a similar project.
What topic have you liked writing about the most out of all your writings up until today?
Well, my favorite is My Last Hurrah. You can be a millionaire in 1 year or less. It belongs with the bonuses, encompasses everything I have ever done over the past 50 years to make the big money.
What suggestions can you give to awaken younger people who maybe want to get into writing? Or what suggestions can you make to younger people why they should maybe read more and be more like you?
Michael, I can't do that. That's the job of the parents.
How much do you like music and why?
I was a music and mathematics major in college. Played professional trumpet and was a vocalist. I love real music.
What do you think the most interesting part of marketing is?
Definitely getting to hear from those who have succeeded in business, any kind of business.
Tell me something about Mensa.
Mensa is the high IQ society. It's made up of people who score in the top 2% on IQ tests. Being a member plus $1 will usually get me a cup of coffee.
So it's no big deal, huh?
Mm-mm.
Does your family support you? Do they feel comfortable with your profession and all your mail order icon status?
Well, I never asked them, but they do respect the money.
I bet they do.
But for many, many years, my mother kept asking my wife, when is Jim going to get a job? When I bought a bank, my mother said, don't be silly. People don't own banks.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. Many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.